Before we begin, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and stay with us until the very end, because what happened on that stage left thousands of people speechless. And the final moment carries a lesson that could change the way you look at failure forever. The theater was packed. Bright lights flooded the stage while thousands of excited fans filled every seat. Backstage, dozens of talented singers waited nervously for their turn, each hoping this would be the moment their lives changed forever. Among them stood a quiet man from the Philippines named Miguel Santos. At first glance, Miguel didn't look like someone destined for a huge stage. He was 32 years old, wearing a simple dark suit that had clearly been altered several times to fit him. His shoes were polished, but old. His hands trembled slightly as he held the contestant number attached to his jacket. Most people backstage were discussing vocal techniques, social media followers, and previous performances. Miguel stood alone. He wasn't alone because he was unfriendly. He was alone because nobody believed he belonged there. When some contestants heard he planned to perform an Elvis Presley song, they exchanged amused looks. Another Elvis impersonator, one contestant whispered. "Yeah. We see hundreds of those every year." Miguel heard every word. But he smiled quietly and looked down at a small photograph in his pocket. The picture showed an elderly woman sitting in a wheelchair. His mother. The reason he was standing there. For years, Miguel worked long shifts as a mechanic in a small town outside Manila. His life was simple. He repaired motorcycles during the day and sang old songs in local community events at night. He never dreamed of becoming famous. He simply loved music. When he was a child, his father owned a collection of old records. One of those records contained Elvis Presley songs. Miguel remembered sitting beside a worn-out record player, listening for hours while imagining enormous stages and cheering crowds. His father used to tell him something he never forgot. "People don't remember perfect voices, son. They remember honest hearts." Years later, after his father passed away, those words stayed with him. Life became difficult. Money was always tight. His mother developed health problems. Medical bills piled up. Many nights Miguel worked overtime just to keep food on the table. His dream of singing professionally slowly disappeared beneath responsibilities. Yet every evening, after exhausting workdays, he still sang. Not for money. Not for fame. But because singing reminded him who he was. One day, while helping his mother eat dinner, a television commercial announced auditions for a famous talent competition. His mother immediately pointed at the screen. "You should go." Miguel laughed. "Me? I'm too old." "No. I'm just a mechanic." "No. People will laugh." His mother smiled. "Then let them laugh. Just don't laugh at yourself." Those words followed him for weeks. Finally, after much hesitation, he borrowed money for transportation and traveled to the audition. Now he was here. Standing backstage. One opportunity. One chance. One song. The stage manager called his name. Miguel took a deep breath. The audience applauded politely as he walked onto the stage. The judges greeted him. One of them asked where he came from. "The Philippines," Miguel replied proudly. The audience cheered. Another judge asked what he did for a living. "I'm a mechanic." A few people smiled. Then came the question everyone expected. "What will you sing today?" Miguel answered confidently. "An Elvis Presley song." A few chuckles echoed through the crowd. The judges exchanged curious glances. The music began. Miguel started singing. But almost immediately something felt wrong. His nerves took over. His timing slipped. His voice cracked slightly. The performance lacked confidence. 10 seconds passed. Then it happened. Simon raised his hand. The music stopped. The audience gasped. Miguel froze. Every contestant feared this moment. Simon leaned forward. His expression was serious. I'm going to stop you. Silence filled the theater. Miguel's heart sank. Months of hope seemed to crumble in an instant. The audience shifted uncomfortably. Some looked sympathetic. Others looked disappointed. Backstage contestants watched from monitors, convinced his journey was over. Simon spoke again. Right now, you're trying to sound like Elvis. Miguel stared at him. Simon continued. And honestly, it isn't working. A few audience members nodded. Miguel lowered his eyes. Years of dreams appeared ready to disappear forever. Then Simon said something unexpected. But I have a feeling there's something real hidden underneath. Tell me about yourself. The question caught Miguel off guard. Nobody had asked about him. Not the singer. Not the performer. Him. Slowly, he explained his life. The mechanic shop. His father. His mother. The old records. The sacrifices. The audience listened carefully. As he spoke, tears formed in the eyes of several people. For the first time, they weren't seeing a contestant. They were seeing a human being. Simon listened quietly. Then he asked one final question. If your father could hear you today, what song would you sing for him? Miguel's eyes filled with tears. A specific song came to mind instantly. The song his father loved most. The song they used to sing together. Simon nodded. Then sing that song. Don't be Elvis. Be Miguel. The theater became completely silent. No one moved. No one spoke. Miguel closed his eyes. He imagined his father sitting beside that old record player. He imagined his mother watching from home. He imagined every difficult year. Every sacrifice. Every disappointment. Every dream he had buried. Then he began singing again. This time everything changed. The voice that emerged wasn't an imitation. It wasn't a performance. It was a story. Raw. Honest. Beautiful. Every lyric carried emotion. Every note carried truth. The audience immediately felt it. Within seconds, people stopped judging. They stopped comparing. They stopped analyzing. They simply listened. The theater transformed. Many audience members wiped away tears. One judge covered her mouth in disbelief. Another judge leaned back, stunned. The man standing on stage was no longer trying to become someone else. He was finally becoming himself. As the song continued, the emotional power grew stronger. Miguel wasn't singing for judges. He wasn't singing for television. He was singing for every person who had ever felt overlooked. Every person who had been told they weren't good enough. Every person who had nearly given up. The final chorus arrived. His voice soared through the auditorium with breathtaking sincerity. When the last note ended, silence lingered for a few seconds. Nobody wanted the moment to end. Then suddenly the entire theater exploded. Thousands of people jumped to their feet. A standing ovation. Cheers thundered across the room. Some audience members were crying openly. The judges stood as well. Simon smiled. A rare smile. The kind that only appears when something genuinely extraordinary happens. Miguel looked around in disbelief. Moments earlier he thought his dream was over. Now the entire theater was celebrating him. The applause continued for what felt like forever. When it finally quieted, Simon spoke. You know what's funny? Miguel waited nervously. Simon continued. When you started, I thought we'd heard this act 1,000 times before." The audience laughed softly. "But after that second performance, I realized we hadn't heard anything like you." More applause erupted. Another judge added, "You stopped trying to be a legend and became something even better. You became yourself." Miguel fought back tears. Years of self-doubt began melting away. The judges voted. One by one. Yes. 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 A unanimous decision. Miguel advanced to the next round. The audience erupted once again. Backstage contestants who had previously doubted him now applauded with genuine respect. Many approached him afterward. Not because he was famous, but because he reminded them of something important. Authenticity matters. In the weeks that followed, clips of his audition spread across the internet. Millions watched. People from around the world connected with his story. Comments poured in from every corner of the globe. Teachers, mechanics, nurses, students, parents, retirees. Many said the same thing. "I almost gave up on my dream too." Miguel became more than a contestant. He became a symbol of perseverance. Months later, after the competition ended, he used his earnings to help his mother receive better medical care. He also began supporting young musicians who lacked opportunities. Whenever people asked him about the audition, he always smiled and repeated his father's words. People don't remember perfect voices. They remember honest hearts. And perhaps that was the real miracle of that day. It wasn't the standing ovation. It wasn't the television exposure. It wasn't even the judge's praise. The real miracle happened when a man who spent years hiding behind someone else's shadow finally found the courage to stand in his own light. The moment Simon stopped him after 10 seconds felt like failure. But sometimes what looks like failure is actually redirection. Sometimes the world isn't telling you to quit. Sometimes it's telling you to be yourself. And that's exactly what Miguel discovered. The lesson is simple but powerful. Never measure your worth by someone else's standards. Never abandon your dream because others don't understand it. And never be afraid to show the world who you truly are. Because the greatest success comes not from becoming another person, but from becoming the best version of yourself. If this story inspired you, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who needs a reminder that